Each student will answer the same question, which poses a real-world scenario, and they will be given 3 possible answers from which to choose. Our panel of judges will score their responses based on 3 criteria: accuracy, reasoning, and presentation. Each year, millions of tons of plastic waste end up in the oceans, threatening everything that depends on Earth's largest ecosystem. National Geographic has begun a multi-year effort to raise awareness and help find solutions to this crisis. Our 3 finalists will be asked to identify a location for an ongoing cleanup effort to recover plastics from a local river. The goal is to reduce the amount of plastic that reaches the ocean. The students must tell us which river is the best location and why. The students must focus their effort at the mouth of one of 3 rivers: the Niger River, the Rhine River, or the Yangtze River. They must factor in the area's population, plastic consumption, and plastic waste management. The Yangtze River is the best choice because of the high population and high plastic consumption in the Yangtze River basin. It's also a rapidly growing area with overwhelmed waste management. The Niger River would be the second best choice. The region has less population and plastic consumption than that of the Yangtze, though its waste management is also strained. The Rhine River is the weakest choice for the cleanup effort. It has the lowest population, and while it has high per capita plastic consumption, it has the strongest existing waste management. The students must choose the answer that best fits the scenario and explain their reasoning. We will give each of them a moment to think about it, but once the bell rings, they'll have 45 seconds to respond. If he or she falls silent for more than 5 seconds, their time will be up. This question is worth a whopping 9 points, so this is a game-making or game-breaking moment for our finalists. The students have been briefed on these rules, but obviously not the question. And remember, this is not just about right or wrong. This is also about reasoning and the quality of presentation. We begin with the student currently in 3rd place. Vishal, please come on out on stage to be the first to answer this Geo challenge. I'm going to ask you to take right front and center. That's perfect right there. Vishal, here's the question. Each year, millions of tons of plastic debris ends up in the oceans, much of it from rivers. Your goal is to help reduce the amount of plastic that reaches the oceans by organizing a cleanup effort to remove plastic from a major river. You can focus your cleanup effort near the mouth of one of 3 rivers: the Niger River, the Rhine River, or the Yangtze River. Based on the criteria of population, plastic consumption, and plastic waste management, on which river would your cleanup effort have the greatest impact? You will have 15 seconds to think about your answer. When the bell rings, please begin.
I would focus my cleanup effort on the Yangtze River because, first of all, the Yangtze River has a really great population with cities such as Shanghai and Nanjing. Second of all, there's a lot of plastic consumption, with China having one of the most plastic consuming countries in the world. And China doesn't have the best plastic waste management, so a cleanup would really help clean up the plastic on the Yangtze River. The Niger River, on the other hand, does not have as much plastic consumption as the Yangtze does, and the Rhine River is really good with plastic waste management, and it doesn't consume as much plastic as the Yangtze River. For these reasons, I would choose the Yangtze River for my cleanup effort. Thank you.
A round of applause for Vishal. Nicely done. So come back here if you would, and I'm going to ask you to stand like right in here, sort of. Okay. All right. Now, let's bring out Anushka. Okay? Anushka, come on out. Okay. I'm going to ask you to stand nice front and center there. Anushka, here's the question. Each year, millions of tons of plastic debris ends up in the oceans, much of it from rivers. Your goal is to help reduce the amount of plastic that reaches the oceans by organizing a cleanup effort to remove plastic from a major river. You can focus your cleanup effort near the mouth of one of three rivers: the Niger River, the Rhine River, or the Yangtze River. Based on the criteria of population, plastic consumption, and plastic waste management, on which river would your cleanup effort have the greatest impact? You will have 15 seconds to think about your answer. When the bell rings, please begin.
I would choose the Yangtze River to focus a cleanup effort on. The Yangtze River the mouth of the Yangtze River is at Shanghai, which is a major city in China. Between the many people in this city, there is a lot of plastic waste that occurs. And China is often considered one of the most populated and polluted places in the world. On the other hand, the Rhine River mouth is in the Netherlands, where there is a stable cleanup system already in place and a much smaller population. Along the Niger River, there's also less plastic waste being used. For these reasons, I would choose the Yangtze River to focus a cleanup effort on. Thank you.
Anushka, if I can ask you to come back here, please, and stand to the left of Venkat. Perfect. Whew. All right. And now, let's bring out Venkat. All right, Venkat, if you want to stand right front and center there. Here's the question. Each year, millions of tons of plastic debris ends up in the oceans, much of it from rivers. Your goal is to help reduce the amount of plastic that reaches the oceans by organizing a cleanup effort to remove plastic from a major river. You can focus your cleanup effort near the mouth of one of three rivers: the Niger River, the Rhine River, or the Yangtze River. Based on the criteria of population, plastic consumption, and plastic waste management, on which river would your cleanup effort have the greatest impact? You will have 15 seconds to think about your answer. When the bell rings, please begin.
I believe that the Yangtze River is the best river to focus a plastic cleanup effort on. This is because tens of millions of people live on the Yangtze River bank, and they produce a lot of plastic as the Yangtze River in China has a huge manufacturing industry that produces a lot of plastic waste. Also, China does not have a very good plastic waste management program, unlike the Rhine River in Europe. And the Rhine River is not a good choice because even though it produces a lot of plastic, as I said before, it has good plastic waste management. The Niger River is not a good choice because not too many people live along its banks, and it has very low plastic consumption. That is why.
All right, very good. I'm going to ask the two of you to come with me, please. And if you would, Venkat, stand to the left, and Vishal all the way on the right, and Anushka between, in the order in which you came out. Great job by all of our finalists. Whoa. Now our judges will take a few moments to confer. The judges have tabulated the scores for this Geo Challenge and are ready to share the results. Judges, we'll start with Vishal.
Hi, Vishal. You responded with the Yangtze River, which was the best choice. You gave great supporting facts for all the criteria we were looking for, including mentioning Shanghai and Nanjing. Your excellent presentation was also very well organized and had an excellent progression as well. We gave you 8 points.
Okay, and that gives Vishal a total now of 30 points. And we move on to Anushka now.
Anushka, you also mentioned the Yangtze River, which was what we were looking for. You had good facts to support all of the criteria and contrasted the weaker choices against the best answer. Your presentation was very, very clear, but it did feel a little rushed. We gave you 7 points.
Okay, and that gives Anushka a total of 33 points. And finally, Venkat.
Venkat, you also mentioned the Yangtze River. You had excellent details and a more complete explanation to support your choice, including mentioning the industrial base of the Yangtze Basin. Your presentation was effective, but overall could have been smoother. We gave you 8 points.
And that gives you, Venkat, a total of 34. Tremendous job by all. That was a real nail-biter.